Welcome everybody to Hidden in Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and welcome to the Land for Time of the Furious. We are starting a long month. It's going to be 2 months where I'm going to cover the Fast and the Furious movies along with the Land for Time series. So I'm going to keep flip-flopping back to each movie. So I'm going to do one movie from that series, the other movie from that series, one movie from that series, other movie from this series, and we're going to mix it up a little, keep this series going. So let's kick it off with the one, the only, Fast and Furious. I am covering the Fast and Furious movies along the Land for Time movies. So this is up first. So let's talk about the Fast and the Furious. This obviously came out in 2001. Oh, by the way, I actually have 2 copies of this. And I'm going to explain before I go on why I have 2 copies of this. Well, I picked up this set right here, which includes the first 3 movies on Blu-ray, which also has a digital copy, which essentially I got this to basically save room. But, unfortunately, the disc to the first movie doesn't play. It kept glitching. So I resolved to pull out my Steelbook. Check the Steelbook out. I had this Steelbook for a while. This is the comic book Steelbook that Universal released at the time when they were re-releasing these in Steelbooks. I'm going to say this right now, I don't collect Steelbooks, but I figured I kind of wanted to show this off because basically it's just the Blu-ray and DVD. It's the same as that release. But anyways, I kind of wanted to bring that up. Since I couldn't play that, the Steelbook I have did play with no glitches, no hiccups, none of that. So I'm going to put that down right here. So get that out of the way so I can show you that. Let's talk about the original Fast and the Furious. This obviously came out in 2001. This movie essentially made Vin Diesel and Paul Walker into superstars. Basically made them stars. This movie also has Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster, who will later be in subsequent sequels. But if you haven't seen this before, this movie is really interesting because originally this was going to be a Point Break remake, but they opted to change it. We had Rob Cohen, who directed Paul Walker in The Skulls, a movie I covered on my channel. That review should be on my channel if you want to check that out. But Paul Walker plays an undercover cop. They don't explain, but he went by Brian, I forget at first, to kind of disguise himself. So he works in the police to stop this illegal street racing that's going on. So we got Vin Diesel, who's Dominic Toretto, or Dom Toretto, however you want to, Dominic Dom, somewhere like that. So basically he's like the leader of this illegal street racing group. So we got Michelle Rodriguez, who plays Dom's sister, who's another street racer. We also got in the cast, we also got Rick Yun, who's the leader of this sort of triad gang. And we got other characters and that would go mainstay into the series. But if you've seen Fast and the Furious, you probably already know this series by now. It's a classic. The first movie is a great movie. Sure, the visual effects are not great, but the street racing is fantastic. It starts out slow, but right when we get near the end, there's an amazing scene with the truck. They're trying to chase down this truck. Great action, great choreography. It's kind of weird going back to this, knowing that Paul Walker's passed on many years from now. For those who don't know, Paul Walker died in a ginormous car wreck in 2013. So it's kind of hard to go back to this. But what's also hard is, this is on the Blu-ray and DVD, that there's a special message from Paul Walker talking about the stunts in this are not real. Don't try this at home. I'm thinking to myself, maybe he should watch the disclaimer before he did what he did. But again, it's crazy. So I'm getting off topic a little bit. But going back to the first Fast and Furious is kind of really hard, knowing that the subsequent sequels do better. We'll get to those eventually, and I'll talk more about how that developed. There's also another scene where Dom Toretto tells Brian that my father died, and his father was a race car driver, so he tells that story that his father died, and he witnessed it. By the way, it happens in Fast 9, but we'll get to that later when I explain more about that. So he does mention, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, that's right. So yeah, there's some great action, and it's all about the street racing. It's really hard for me to say on the first film when, like I said, the sequels get better. It gets better, but eventually we'll talk about Too Fast, Too Furious. So, although my only complaint with the film is the ending was not very good, it kind of had a big cop-out. It basically gave us a chicken-out ending. But in the post-credits, they do mention in the post-credits. So, really good film. I'm going to talk about the prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious. That will leave off. It's a short film. It's silent. But it does tell you how that happened from the first film. Because the first movie's ending doesn't really explain how that ends. But it's, like I said, really good. Well made. It's a great little short film. It's actually more of a silent movie because Walker's character does not talk. But they do explain how that happens. He goes trekking until it gets to Miami. And that's where Too Fast, Too Furious will pick up. But I'm not talking about Too Fast, Too Furious. We'll save that one for later. But yeah, I wanted to bring out that additionally because I'm not going to include it in its own video. I just kind of wanted to bring that now. I'm more just rambling. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I will say that... Is there anything else I can say about this film? Not really. So, final verdict. Is the original Fast and Furious worth watching today? And the answer is yes. I really think. If you have not seen the series, but I'm sure everybody's seen this movie, still watch the movie. I think the racing's good. I like how they go and steal DVD players. Go back to that time. Although the one scene where the guy's playing the original Gran Turismo, not Gran Turismo 2, the original Gran Turismo. From what I heard in the production, the guy, Rob Cohn, directed this, he got the idea of making it out of a car magazine called Racer X. That was its inspiration to this, was a short story called Racer X. And it was in some like auto magazine, I don't remember. That's what formed into the series. So, yeah, I'm going to show you this this 3-pack right here. This is the first 3 movies in the series. Now, unfortunately, the case I got was kind of a little destroyed, so yeah, here's the disc for the original. I'm not going to show off that because it's the same disc. And if we open this up, we got Too Fast, Too Furious. I will cover that. I'm not going to cover this week. Like I said, I'm going to mix and match movies, but it will get reviewed. I did watch this before, so I can easily tell you, but I'm not going to tell you when I rewatch it for the review. But I have watched it before, I'm just not going to tell you guys. So, we'll save Too Fast, Too Furious later on. But until then, I guess check it out though. But if you do skip this, I can't blame you because, like I said, the later films get a lot better. I think the chemistry between all the characters are really good. And it's, like I said, it's what made Paul Walker into a star. And even Vin Diesel to a star, which ultimately they became the best of friends. But we got Too Fast, Too Furious, but we'll save that for later. Till then, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. This is now, I do believe, let me go ahead and double check. This is now my 157th movie I've covered on this channel. I hope I can make to 200 reviews, 200 movies that are reviewed. If I get to 200, I'll be so thankful because 200 is going to be big. But I'm like I said, we're on the Land for Time of the Furious month. So if I don't finish all these, I might pull them into next month. But I have a feeling I'm going to see this. And I figured I'm going to go ahead and cover these movies. All the films, minus Tokyo Drift, which I already covered that. So that's just letting you know, I'm not going to cover Tokyo Drift because I already covered that. That's the only one series that's not going to get recovered again. So, I'm out. I'm rambling. Go check out the original. I know it's not much of a review. Everybody's probably seen these movies. So, but still, like I said again, go check this out. But we'll find out eventually. So, I'm rambling. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to say good night. And I'll talk to you guys next time with the next review. See ya.